As you enter the world of sparring or competitive fighting, it's very important for you to understand what the greatest risks are, what techniques that you might throw incorrectly that are going to lead you to getting knocked down or knocked out. When you understand these, you can make adjustments, so even if you do throw them, you are not punished. Today we're going to talk about some of the most dangerous things that beginners, intermediates, and even professional fighters try to execute, which backfire on them. I've been training and sparring and competing pretty hard for almost the last, I don't even know what it would be now, 22, 23 years of like actually getting in, putting in hard rounds. And I've just seen so many people make such brutal mistakes and end up getting laid out, whether it be at the gym or in a fight. So the first technique that I want to really warn you guys about that is very dangerous if done incorrectly is being at range and trying to enter with just a knee, just a straight up knee. They slide in, they try to throw and attack the body, and they end up getting clipped and laid out. Why does this happen? When some fighters from Thailand make it look so easy and so effective to throw those knees. Well, the very first thing is hand positioning. That's one of the most important things actually, is your hand positioning. Many people, walk forward, boom, and their hands are a little bit too low, or and they don't really change anything. You have options, but you want to make sure that your hands are not below chin level. So you're either reaching to grab somebody and executing your knee, posting out those hands, long guard style, both hands out, so that the other person cannot get off a proper punch, or you're properly defending your face with some sort of guard. Could be like this, could be coming across so the elbow blocks, but if you're gonna take that step forward and you're just gonna throw a straight up knee with no combo beforehand or no technique beforehand, you have to be extra careful. An easier option is often from here, close the distance with some hands, so your hands are high, you're protecting yourself, you distract this guy, and then execute the knee. But if you want to do a walk-through knee or a step forward right knee, you have to make sure those hands are in a proper position. The next mistake that many people end up making is they try to incorporate slipping, it's head movement, into sports, fight sports that have kicks involved. They slip too low, too deep, without a hand protecting their head. Remember, whatever way I choose to slip, I don't really need this hand up because I'm getting my head off that center line or rolling under, but I have to have the other hand up protecting, because dropping my head down and leaning into a kick or leaning too far forward into a knee is going to be very dangerous. So in general, you want to minimize your head movement as opposed to boxing, where you can get away with really deep slips. With the kicking, it's going to be a little bit shorter, but the other hand is definitely going to need to be up. And if you practice stuff like that, like I'm going to go slip, slip, just make sure you have a hand up, I roll under, a hand up, no hands, both down. It does not work for fight sports that involve those kicks. Now, very often, I'm not going to fault somebody for wanting to be an aggressive fighter. You want to get in there, you want to mix it up. But moving forward too fast is going to be at some point a recipe for disaster, because you're walking in so fast to a counter shot. If I get hit in the head, let's say with a counter overhand, and I'm kind of coming like this at that pace, I'm not going to take as much impact. But if I actually start going like that, it doesn't take much impact. So we have to be very careful on how quickly we decide to move forward. Very often you'll see new fighters try to run forward with multiple straight punches. They forget about the basics, they lift their chin, and they just full on rush. Very dangerous. And you want to avoid that. You want to keep your stance. If you can move forward at a good clip like this, I'd say that's okay. That sort of pace. But once you start going faster than that and you start really stepping through and running, full on running, it can get very dangerous, and I would advise to avoid that. Now, one of the most powerful punches that you can throw, in my opinion, is a big overhand. And I love that technique. I think it's great. But many people will get their head off the center line when they throw it. It just naturally happens. It's hard to keep my head in position as I throw this. I naturally want to drop because my punch is already coming this direction, and I'm going to increase the force by dropping my shoulder weight downwards. But as we already talked about, when we slip, we have to make sure our hands stay up so we don't eat a round kick. And I have seen so many people try to throw an overhand, they end up here and they lean in to that head kick. If you're gonna commit to a big overhand, make sure your hand is up high so at least you're protecting yourself. And if it's one of those situations where, okay, I get hit, but then I still manage to throw my overhand, I might get the better of that exchange. But if you happen to get kicked in the head, you're gonna certainly lose that. So hand tight to the head as you drop your weight down on that overhand. On things like crosses and hooks, you don't need to drop your weight down. But for the overhand in particular, that motion is just natural and you want to protect yourself. The last technique, which I really caution you to be careful with, is the low kick. And low kick is actually, to me, one of the safer techniques to throw, but I've seen many times where people throw a low kick and they get hit with a counter. Why does this happen? Well, they do two things incorrectly. Number one, when they throw their low kick, their head stays in position. And number two, if they do take a step, they don't remember to step sideways, they come forward, head up. If you do that, oh, I'm gonna blast this guy with a low kick, boom, like that, you're gonna eat any counter straight punches which come. But if you remember to either step and get your head off the center line, or to keep your head high but step off on an angle, or even better, do both of them, your head is gonna move and you're no longer in that zone. So instead of being here and going, oh, low kick, and getting knocked down, they'll step off to the side or head off the center line once again, and you're gonna be safe. You could alternatively go more Japanese, I call it Japanese style, where they kind of keep their hand out in the middle, so any straight punches that come are gonna be defending you, and then you don't have to worry about stepping off the center line or getting your head off the center line. You can just be standing here and just boom, and just throw right from there. I like that one as well, but if you're not doing one of those three things, and you're overly aggressive with that low kick, I'll take the low kick, just eat it there, drop my weight in to make sure it's nice and firm, you're not gonna damage my thigh, and then just knock you down as you throw. These are some of the most dangerous things that you can easily correct, especially after watching this video, and make sure if you throw them or you execute in the style that we talked about, you're gonna be safe. I throw these techniques all the time, never been knocked down, utilizing them. Hopefully this will help you guys do the same thing. As always, guys, thanks for joining. Train hard. I will see you back here soon for another video.